Here on the Afia Business Morning. Enugu State just turned 34. Created in 1991, the coast city has a history that goes even further back, born out of coal mining, later becoming the capital of the old eastern region. And over the years, Enugu has moved from being the heartbeat of Nigeria's coal industry to a civil service hub, and now it's pushing to redefine itself in today's economy. In our discussion today, we'll reflect on how far the state has come, the leaders who shaped the journey, and what must be done if Enugu is to truly compete in the years ahead. Joining me now on the program to talk about this is Dr. Ambrose Igboke, Chairman, Guild of Public Affairs Analysts of Nigeria, Enugu State Chapter. You're welcome on the program.
Thank you.
How are you doing today?
Fine. I'm baptized on the show now.
Oh, you are. So Enugu has turned 34. When you look back over the years, do you think the state has been able to move? What do you think about the state's journey? How far would you say we have come? And has it lived up to the hopes of people who created it back in 1991?
We are very lucky that Enugu, as a metropolis, has been home as capital to the whole of Eastern region. You know, when we say Eastern region, then it comprises of I think 4 of the, let's say 5 of the current South-South zone states, and then 5 of the Southeast states. So we're talking about, we have like 10 states now. Enugu was the capital then. And it became a very viable commercial city as early as, I think, 1909. It has already become a commercial city. This yellow taxi color we are using came also in the 1900s, and then the black stripe. The black stripe represents coal. The white and the yellow represent the fire for coal. I think Lagos copied from us later, that yellow and black thing. So over the years, it transmitted to eastern states, east central states, okay, from the region to east central states before the war. And then some states were now carved out, like River State was carved out in 1967 and all those things. So then Anambra State was now created, I think, in 1976. And then the old Anambra and Imo States. And then until we dovetailed to 1991. The cry, that time with Anambra State, there was this dichotomy of Anambra people and then the people they called the Wawa, people comprising of Enugu and Ebonyi states now. And there have been a clarion call, even from the 70s, that the people called the Wawa people should have their own state because the population is large enough. There were cries of marginalization. So people felt that when we have our own state, it should now bring development closer. So that dream materialized in 1991, 27th August, which was the day of the anniversary of Babangida's head of state. You know, he overthrew Buhari 27th August 1985. So that 27th August 1990 was an anniversary kind of thing, and he created some of these states. And then in 1996, when the new Enugu State was created in 1991, we had 3 senatorial zones. We have the Abakaliki, we had the Enugu, and then we had the Nsukka. So the Abakaliki zone then now became Ebonyi State in 1996. So we now had Enugu State now. So from 1996, Enugu has been the way it is now. So creating it in 1991 suggests that we have come a long way. When you look at where we were when the state was created and what we are now, it has been a tremendous journey of development. At that time when we were the old Anambra State, basically once you do Onitsha and do Enugu, there's nothing again. So Nsukka was just there because of the university, but it's not even expanded. It was just that Enugu Road, University Market Road, and that is it. But you can see that when Enugu State was created, the trajectory of development started, expanding. So we could see in 34 years, as a kid who comes home with my uncle is a GTC boy, so he went to Government Technical College, I think the 1972 set. So he used to bring us back to Enugu from Warri, where I grew up with him. And each time we come, I remember we go to the zoo, and then we also try to go to Nike Resorts. That time, a drive from GTC, GRA, to Nike Resort used to be like a journey, like we are traveling. because just villages. You know, we're talking about the late 80s, and you know, it was not like villages around. But we can see what has happened just because of development of you know, the creation of Enugu State. There's been exponential you know, expanse of explosion of urban the rural towns have now become urban areas. Look at areas like Agban. Look at areas like Amech, Okunano, all those places, even down to Ozala, they are opened up down to Ogu. Look at the other side. If you are talking Emine, you know, Abakaliki Road, Enugu Abakaliki Road opened up too. When you go to Abakwa is an explosion. I mean, you know, it just exploded with development and opportunities. Now we are pursuing Nsukka too, you know, started having a lot of growth that was not only centered at the university, but now centered at commerce, and you know, started absorbing towns. Edobara is almost merged with Nsukka. So also some other towns like Unru, even Oba, and all those. So it is a great thing that we have been able to. If you pass the old road, all those other towns or home and all those, they are already almost merged now. So you could see the development. Ugogonike Road, that used to be a forest. We could see that one single road that just opened it up, and today with the dualization on the way, you know, so you could say that it has been all be positive for us. We have expanded our civil service. There was more opportunity for people to enter the civil service. We are able to create the old Anambra State. Remember, just one university, the University of Nigeria, basically. So everybody wanted in there. They even workers. There was a lot of marginalization of people from Wawa and all those things. But we can see with Enugu State, just from 1991, we could see many higher institutions have come in here. We could see the exponential growth in education, private universities, all those things. So those things drive the economy. And if the state, I wonder if Enugu State was not created in 1999, whether we'll have this kind of exponential economic growth we have had.
You know, Enugu is often described as a civil service state. Do you think the state has been able to move past that level?
Yeah, Enugu State yeah, is correct to call it a civil service state then, but now is gradually leaving that toga. When you say civil service, that means, okay, the preponderance of employed people are from the civil service, okay? But what we see now are a lot of, so if you call it civil service, unless you want to expand the scope of civil service, but if you just restrict it to government-employed people, working in the ministries, MDAs, and the rest, then you can now see that Enugu has gone beyond that. Because you now start, you know, doing a comparative analysis between the private employers of labor and the government. Though the government is still higher, but you now find out that private employers are coming up seriously in Enugu. If you want to count the number of private universities, you want to count the number of private secondary schools, you want to count the number of private polytechnics, higher institutions, nursery schools, and the rest, you could see that there's a lot of growth. You want to count markets, you want to talk about the stores, you know, Beta, Bakpa Market, or Kayanta, and all those things. You now find out that there's a lot of people now working. So Enugu is gradually even shedding its toga of a civil service state to a cosmopolitan commercial hub. Gradually, that is happening. And even with government now trying to also do PPP arrangements and the rest, you now find out it's not strictly what we used to do as civil service. While the government is also wrapping up employment, for example, for the smart schools, the one they want to employ for the tattoo hospitals and the rest. So you could see that it's a bloom. Are we going to talk about the real estate, the explosion of real estate in Enugu that has made further before now, hitherto, rural areas almost becoming urban areas. So when you even drive through Abakwa, you have passed Abakwa, you are now going into, you have passed this Nkwanike, you are now moving out of town. Those places used to be forest. But right now, Nkwanike itself is, we have in the private university, the more universities are coming up there, real estate lands have been almost sold out. So, and then there's something about Enugu that attracts even people who are not from Enugu State. So Enugu is like the capital of Igbo heritage, apart from the political and the socioeconomic. It's becoming like every Igbo man who is of means wants to have something to do with Enugu. So it's either he wants to have a house, he wants to build one, or real estate. And even he wants to do business in Enugu. So that has been impacted because of what we have been able to do for the past 34 years. And leaders who conceived that also, people like CCONO, the late CCONO, people like Igbo Abango, Uwebe Wobudo, Naji. So a lot of people, them, and all those people that fought tirelessly. A lot of them, which I can't remember the names now. Today. A couple of them are still alive. Someone like Mr. Dukeya is still alive. He's even causing our radio shows and the rest. The man is still very strong. I think when he looks back, they will be very happy that what they fought for. I think even Wobudu is still alive too. So most of them, some of them are still alive, and I think they'll be very, very happy with that, with themselves. That they fought for this. It came to limelight, and they're seeing the success of what they have fought for.
Yeah, let's talk about Enugu's identity. Coal is what Enugu is known for. But right now, we don't hear of coal anymore. It looks like coal is gone. Would you say Enugu has outlived its coal years?
Enugu, that was then. In fact, the name Enugu is known for its beautiful hills. In fact, that's why it's called Enugu. That is top of the hill, the hilltop in English. So, first of all, it is the scenic beauty of the town. Those days before we started having this encroachment of the flora and fauna on that Milky Hill, which is a very terrible thing happening there. Real estate everywhere of that day. This is a place we're supposed to preserve as canopy walkways for the forest. But Nigerians and our way, we don't preserve nature. So we'll do whatever we want, we'll destroy that place. You used to see it, cascading mountains, go to Soka, go to Enugu here, go to Ngo. Oh, so it's not for that. Then the coal was the first international commercial activity of the town, of the area. And that's why it was coal mining. And especially the issues of the Kuleri massacre that happened, I think, in the 40s, that brought Enugu out more to national consciousness, even internationally, because of what happened. So Enugu already know how to fight for their right. But the coal era, diminished because coal was used to power energy, electricity, and the rest. So with the discovery of oil in 1956 and the further exploitation of the oil through JVCs and the rest, we now found out that Nigeria concentrated more, and the world also moved. Remember the trains in Europe and everywhere in the world were being powered by train. The locomotive trains were being actually powered by coal. So, the way we are exporting oil now was what coal was then. But even then, between the late 50s and the 60s, Enugu was not only known for coal. During the Michael Opara years, you could see that industries sprang up. The Niger gas, the different companies, the assembling plants, the asphalt plants, the palm oil. Later, we became known for palm oil exports. In the 60s, we were no more a coal exporting entity. We became a palm exporting entity. And industries. Remember when it was East Central State, this industrial estate in Emene, there was an industrial corridor from Emene to Bomadi in the current, in the present River State, because that time it was Eastern region. And that Calabar, Ujo, all those places, Port Harcourt, they were all part of. There's an industrial corridor, and that is why the Port Harcourt Expressway was also built to connect Port Harcourt to the state capital, where exports can be done. There was rail line then too. So the rail line was also later used for exportation of palm kernels, exportation of palm oil, and the rest. But oil did to Nigeria what happened to Enugu also. Enugu being a subset of Nigeria. So the over-dependence on oil, crude oil, affected the other parts. But again, there was a renaissance of industries in the 80s, between 1979 and December 31st, between 1st October 1979, December 31st, 1983, when the Third Republic, the Second Republic was birthed. And you could see a lot of things happening. That was where someone like Sam Mbakwe built the airport, and then Jim Wobodo, who was in the old Anambra State that time, did a lot also. But after that, we found out that although there was no more coal in this era, but we have divested into so many things. So coming down now, The coal business is actually even in a high demand now in Europe and other places. But now it's not the way it was processed then. They are processing it now to have less emission of carbons so that we can earn our own carbon credit and the rest. But there are a lot of businesses now, as you could say. Enugu could still become the coal capital of Nigeria because there's no state yet that has overtaken it. Right now, as we speak, a lot of coal mining activities are going on and, regulated and all those things. And when you go, there's still a lot of exports from coal from here. So it's a coal city state, and that is why it still bears that name. And then the coal has refused to go. In fact, it's bouncing back.
Yeah, so is this something you think the government should really look into?
I think the government is already looking into that already. It's already regulated. I say there's even a special advisor on that. So a lot is going on. And the government in different fora has talked about trying to get a rail line to move the coal to somewhere to Port Harcourt so that they can link the national rail design so that it can link, so that it can be taken for export also. So the government is already looking into that seriously. But I have also advocated that Nigeria would do too much of copycats, while we talk about carbon credits, carbon emissions, climate change, and all those kind of things. Third world countries should be very careful about these things because it's affecting the economy. So, but a lot of these people, some of these people in Europe is using coal. Some of them are using coal, some of them are using fuel, some of them are using all these things that we should not use. So we need to re-examine the Kyoto, there's what you call Kyoto Protocol, which some countries signed up and all those that will not use coal. Coal was one of the things affected. So if China could use coal, if other countries could use coal, even America can use coal, the mining pits have been, reactivated in many places. So we should look at our own differently and also look at the economic impact of it.
When you look at Enugu State today, where would you say the state has made progress the most, and where would you say we are lagging behind?
Now, one of the things that the state has developed so much is the human resource, the human capital development. When you check 1991, how many Enugu State indigents could have some, qualifications to run some certain things like the civil service, and we're very few. But today, we have all sorts of individuals who can run anything in the world, not just in Enugu State. So there have been a lot of human capital development. Our people are our greatest assets, and we have been able to develop a lot of that. If you go to everywhere in Nigeria, everywhere in the world, the people of Enugu are shining. So even people who grew up in Enugu, like people like Chimamanda Adichie, keep saying, Nsukka, was her cradle. Even great people like Chinua Achebe, all people that are especially, we are not from Enugu State. Enugu still, is the anchor of most of the things they have done in the past. So that is one of the areas. In real estate, we are doing well. If not for the current, the place we are having issues is we need to be more focused on urban development and do plan ahead. Well, right now, what is happening to Lagos is happening to Enugu, where, urban expansion is not planned. It happens spontaneously. So it happened to Lagos, and Lagos is having a lot of issues right now. So we should not allow that happen in Enugu. So although the housing is doing its own things, Ministry of Land, they are trying their way, but it's not enough to just want to say, we have housing. They come and buy, you partition, you plan inside the estate. What of access to the place? So a road that is, taking care of a load of maybe 100 houses, all of a sudden, that same road is not taking care of 1,500 or 2,000, and it's not expanded. So it starts causing issues. And that's why sometimes we are starting noticing when during Christmas, Enugu is locked down. It's on lockdown. Because it's still the same roads. So, but I'm happy that the current administration is doing a lot now in terms of try to fix existing roads, try to create new ones and the rest. But this inner city itself is becoming choked. So and for it to expand, and that is why I'm happy with what they are doing about Enugu City, where they are opening up new places. So that's the best way. And with the dualization of Ugogo-Nike Road, then that whole corridor will not be. So that is a good area. So we are really expanding, and that is good. Then in policy, in administration, it has been taken a notch higher, and then we're also enjoying that.
Yeah, just in 60 seconds, Mr. Igboke, before we let you go. Enugu at 34. What should be the top priorities right now for the government so that Enugu can be able to thrive economically and also compete in years to come?
Well, first, I think that the government is in the right path. Okay. One is infrastructure development, human capital development, moving us from mundane, where we are, to digital age. And at the same time, looking into the welfare of the people. It's already doing well. We are one of the 3 states that don't depend on depend on the federal allocation for salaries and some of those things. So we need that to continue and to be escalated.
All right, thank you so much, sir, for joining us on the program today.
Thank you very much for having me on the show.
And that's the much we can take on the Eastern Business Report today. Till I see you at 10 a.m. tomorrow for another edition of the Afia Business Morning. I am Marvelous Apwamaga. Coming up next.